I want to start this video confronting two things. Number one, shame surrounding money would never help you build wealth, and calling yourself lazy is a lie. Sometimes it's not that you're lazy. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you're stressed. Sometimes life is just life. And that has the potential to leave you trying to learn and navigate a system that no one ever took the time to teach you about. And that is daunting. So as a result, sometimes what looks like procrastination or even inconsistency is ultimately just a lack of clarity. So in this video, we're going to talk about how strategy and not shame is the key to building wealth even in an economic downturn. Because if you don't know, we are threatening another recession, and millionaires are made in recessions. So before we proceed, I want you to promise me something. If you've ever called yourself lazy, if you've ever said that I'm just undisciplined or unmotivated, I want you to stop that. I want you to actually just cut it out, because those things are not true about you. But every time you say that, you bind yourself to that false reality. And there's nothing worse than binding yourself to something that does not suit you and was never meant for you. Because I don't believe you're lazy. I do think you may be under-supported, under-resourced, and under-informed. And as a result, you don't have the opportunity to move differently. But we're going to put an end to that, because people who have strategy move throughout the world differently, and they take advantage of every opportunity to build generational wealth. And I want that to be you. Because if you missed the 2020 cycle of millionaires like I did, because I didn't know enough about money, I don't want you to miss this cycle, because recessions make millionaires, not stable times. Before we get started, I want to ask you to please like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you find that I've said something of importance, consider leaving me a comment, because they always keep me going. All right, y'all, let's get into the teaching. I want to first start this teaching talking about why shame is a trap and it is not your strategy for moving forward in life. Shame is a trap, y'all. Okay. And I know a lot of times in Black and brown communities, we do have shame around money because we've never been really taught about money, other than living in poverty, other than robbing Peter to pay Paul, other than having more month than money. All of those things we say to curse ourselves. Those are the things we generally learn growing up, but they don't have to be your destination. That's what I want you to understand. So you don't have to be ashamed surrounding money unless you want to. I don't want you to. I had to break out of shame surrounding money, and I want you to know that you can too. One of the reasons why shame is a trap is because it keeps you stuck. It keeps you on this hamster wheel. It keeps you doing the same things over and over again, even though you know they're not working for you. And then as a result, shame begins to mock you because they're not working for you, but you're married to doing it, and therefore you remain stuck. It's just this vicious cycle that a lot of people find themselves in, and I don't want you to stay there if you do find yourself there. That's why you need strategy. Strategy is the key that helps you move forward, right? Strategy is what a lot of people don't talk about. Even in Christian circles, we don't talk a lot about strategy, but the Bible is your strategic rule book. The Bible is all about strategy. It's all about telling you how to do a thing, but we like to focus on the feel-good messages. We like to focus on the things that we believe God is going to do for us, instead of looking at the Bible and seeing what God says you have to do in order for Him to partner with us to help us bring forth an intended end, right? Strategy moves you forward. Shame keeps you stuck. So if you've been calling yourself lazy, I want you to cut it out. I want you to stop it right now and stop and renounce that, because you cannot keep speaking ill about yourself. You cannot keep speaking down about yourself and then expect you to rise above the things that you're saying about yourself. The world is cruel enough. People are mean enough. Why would you be your own worst enemy? Why would you tie yourself to a false identity that does not suit you? You're not lazy. You may not have enough information. You may procrastinate on some things, but you are not lazy. Do you get up and go to work every day? If you have children, do you take care of your children? Are you trying to prioritize your mental health? You're not lazy. All of those indicators do not point to laziness, okay? So I don't want you to keep rehearsing that and saying that about yourself. But it doesn't just stop with laziness. It ultimately extends to you saying, I'm just bad with money. Everybody in my family has been bad with money. I'm just horrible with finances. If you keep saying that, you must understand that that then becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The Bible is clear that the power of life and death is where? In your tongue. in your tongue. So you're speaking this against yourself, and therefore what you spoke comes to pass every single time because you have authority in your mouth. So you have to stop saying these negative things, even if they may be your current reality. They do not have to be your destination. You don't want to keep living in a self-fulfilled prophecy when that prophecy is negative, when that prophecy is keeping you down, when that prophecy is designed to steal your future from you. The reason that self-fulfilling prophecies work is because your brain believes them. Your brain comes into agreement with what you're saying. Therefore, your actions are really close behind because what you do flows from what you believe. You cannot expect a different result if you're confessing something opposite, okay? So we have to get our mouths in check, especially when it surrounds money. So with this in mind, your inaction may not be because you're bad with money. It may be because you just don't have a clear plan around your money. So if you're trying to get out of debt, if you're trying to build financial freedom, if you're trying to build generational wealth, you need a clear path forward. You can't stumble your way into it. Wealth creation is very strategic, and it is about following a clear path. It's not about guilting yourself into trying to get your money better. If you carry guilt with you around with money, you're not going to break out of it. You have to break up with guilt. You have to break up with self-condemnation. You have to stop agreeing with things that are not true. They may have been true about you in a previous season, but they're not true about you right now. And you have to believe that. So please, stop putting more pressure on yourself and just create a plan. A plan is your roadmap. It will help you get from point A to point Z, all right? It helps you to create a clear path for the road that you're traveling on. The second thing we should probably address is one of the reasons that you may feel stuck. And it's a very clear reason, but it's just not a reason that's on the surface. One of the reasons why you may be stuck in your life right now is because you're doing a lot of guessing. You're doing a lot of guesswork. When you spend majority of your time guessing and doing guesswork, it means that you're not building anything. You're not doing anything of value because you're spinning the wheels in your head trying to guess the probability of something working. You're not going to figure it out that way. You have to start building something to begin to see how it can work or how you may need to restructure it. One thing that I need you to understand to kind of break out of this guesswork is that the moment you begin to start living in your head instead of trying to put some things in action, everything will begin to feel urgent to you. And what happens when everything feels urgent? You do nothing. You will not do anything because you are paralyzed by analysis. People call it analysis paralysis. You're paralyzed. So therefore, you have so many things going on in your mind that you just don't do anything. You just drop the ball and go to bed. I've done that so many times in my life. And I know it's more common than a lot of people talk about. You do not need to get caught up in analysis paralysis because analysis paralysis steals motivation. You need a strategy because the strategy helps you move the needle. And I don't know what you need to get a strategy around, only you know that, but you do need to be moving this needle very quickly in this season, especially if you have set on the gifts and talents that God has given you and now you're trying to play catch up. Sometimes I just sit back and reflect on the teachings that I've been taught as a Christian. And while all of them are not bad, trust me, they're not all bad. Some of them are unhelpful. And the ones that I find the most unhelpful are the ones that just taught you to hope. And I'm not talking about have hope in God or someone hanging on to hope. I'm talking about the ones that teach you to hope but not plan for the thing that you're hoping for. I'm talking about the teachings that create more frustrations because they create more gaps in your life instead of giving you strategies on how to walk out the thing that you're actually building for. You know, those feel-good messages, those messages that God is going to do it, God's going to do it in 20 days, and you make it to the 21st day, and what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened on the 24th day. And as a result, you're left with disappointment. As a result, you're left with, trust issues with God. Trust me, I got my own. But you're left with these things because these teachings have taught you to hope and not how to build strategy around the thing that you're hoping for that will kind of help insulate it to ensure the higher probability that it will come to pass for you. Friend, if you want overflow, you have to know how to position yourself. You have to know how to price your services and your goods. You have to know how to navigate the economy. You can't just hope that God is going to throw this money out of heaven to you. You cannot just hope for a miracle. You don't have to hyper depend on the lottery system of miracles. And the reason why I say it's a lottery system because you don't get to decide if you get a miracle. You don't know. Only heaven decides who will get a miracle. They pick. We all have our hands and our things in the bucket, and heaven decides this person gets a miracle. You don't have to be at the mercy of a miracle if you have a strategy. If you have insulated your life and by doing the things that the Bible has told you to do, you don't have to live at the mercy of will God come through because he's giving you enough intellect, enough strategy, enough authority to see things come to pass in partnership with him. So I want to give you 3 strategic moves that'll help you replace shame with structure. Okay. Number 1, I want you to create a simple wealth map. So I want you to think about what do you want to financially build within the next 6 to 12 months. Then I want you to break that goal down into 3 categories. The first category is save. And this is saving your emergency fund or saving in a high yield savings account. So an example of this could be you want to save $3,000. Y'all know I'm on a $10,000 savings plan in 90 days. And I've had to break that goal down into not only monthly savings goals, but also weekly savings goals. So your example is that you want to save $3,000. What is your plan? Well, you will have to have a plan to save $250 a month for 12 months, if that's your goal. You see how that works? Like you want to have the big picture and then you want to have bite-sized steps. The next category is earn. So what do you want to earn and how do you want to earn it? Do you want to earn it from side income? Do you want to earn it from your career? Do you want to earn it from passive streams of income? And an example of this is that, okay, you tell me you want to earn $500 a month. What's your plan to do that? You have to have a plan for that. So maybe you can say, I'm going to sell 20 products at $25 each every month. That will help you get to your goal. The next category is grow. How do you want to grow? You want to grow your investments. You want to grow in skill building. So an example of this would be either to read 1 financial book a month or enroll in a course. When I was on my financial journey, I was reading a book a month. I was reading a book of finance a month. I was listening to financial podcasts every day. And I even bought someone's course that I didn't pre-recorded course. I never even used it because it wasn't what I thought it was, right? But the point is to grow. You have to come into agreement with a growth mindset, all right? So number 1, we just went over creating a simple wealth map. Number 2, I want you to use 90-day sprints instead of year-long pressure. And we kind of talked about this at the beginning of the year. If you was following along, I did the strategy session. And I said, break your year up into quarters. You cannot give yourself a whole year to reach a goal. You have to give yourself quarters to reach a goal. So your key here is to focus on a single 90-day outcome and then build a system around it. I don't know what that may mean for you. I have mine that $10,000 in 90 days that I need to have completed by the end of Q2. What is your 90-day goal? Q1, you can say, okay, I want to build and launch 1 digital product. Cool. Q2, you may say, I want to secure 3 freelance clients. Okay, cool. Q3, you may say, I want to save $1,000 in my high yield savings account. Awesome. Q4, you may say, I want to start investing in index funds. You need a goal for every quarter, okay? You say it with me. I need a goal for every quarter. And number 3, I want you to get comfortable with building a financial rhythm and not a hustle routine. Build a financial rhythm and not a hustle routine. You need to understand that wealth requires rhythm and not rush. It's not hurriesome. You need to get in rhythm with creating wealth. So what are you doing weekly or even monthly to keep things moving along? You have to keep moving forward, y'all, okay? You cannot just sit and wait and hope. You have to keep moving forward. Water is always in movement. You need to be like water, always in movement. So I've written down some ways that you can do this. Weekly, you can do a money date, and then you can ultimately go over your goals. So you want to review this type of stuff every week. Monthly, you can track your income and your expenses, and then you can set one financial focus. Quarterly, you can evaluate your progress, adjust your goals, and celebrate wins. I love a good celebration. I can't wait to celebrate this $10,000 win, okay? Because I'm going to have a great time celebrating my win and my diligence and my hard work. So the key is to celebrate yourself. Celebrate as you continue moving forward. So of course, it wouldn't be a video of mine if I didn't give you some type of faith insight. And today's faith insight comes from Proverbs 21:5, which says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." I want to read that again. "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." We see here this scripture is talking about plans and what those plans lead to. This is strategy in the Bible. This is about strategy. The scripture, as I have always maintained, is strategic. We see here that diligence is not about doing more, but it is about doing what matters. And if God gave you the mind of Christ, which your Bible tells you that he did, why would he expect you to guess your way to wealth? Why? That math won't math. The reason that he won't expect you to guess your way there is because he's already giving you the blueprint. He's already giving you the blueprint. Take the blueprint. So here's your next move. I want you to, one, stop calling yourself lazy. Check your words. Number two, I want you to build a simple 90-day wealth map. And number three, I want you to pick one of these steps and begin. And of course, if you need more help, keep watching the Recession Millionaires playlist. It's absolutely free, all. And as you keep watching, I want you to be sure to share this list with a friend, because it ain't no fun if your friends aren't building wealth right along with you. I want to end this by telling you that you're not lazy. You may just need a strategy. And that is exactly what we're building here. In my private one-on-one consulting sessions, I help you take those ideas that are swirling around in your mind and create a comprehensive plan that is suitable for your life. You'll leave these sessions with clear, focused, value-aligned ideas and strategies that will help you build generational wealth. So if you're interested and you need that type of support, I want you to click the link in the description and hop on my calendar and have your one-on-one strategy session with me. I'll see y'all soon in another installment of Recession Millionaires. Bye, y'all.